You're listening to The Country Hour, and let's talk more about the impact of this season from Russian wheat aphid and what was being reported from last season to this one. Kellyanne Harris is with Agriculture Victoria. She's the Program Manager of CropSafe Tools and can join us now from our studios in Bendigo. Welcome to The Country Hour.
Thanks, Warwick.
Thanks very much for joining us. I suppose first things first, from the stats from CropSafe, where you get a lot of these things reported to you, what do you know about Russian wheat aphid in the state last year, and what's it telling you so far this season?
Yeah, cool. So CropSafe, the samples get sent in by agronomists during the season of anything unusual or anything that's showing sort of, I guess, unusual patterns on crops. So last year we had 226 samples sent into CropSafe during the season, and a significant number of those were actually related to Russian wheat aphid. Also last year was quite a wet growing season, so typically with a wetter growing season we have a lot higher disease pressure. So with this year we've had over 130 samples sent in so far. So, yeah, down on last year, and we're not getting as many samples sent in about Russian wheat aphid because the agronomists know what to look for and the damage that they can see.
That was, I suppose, the next question. Is it not as sexy this year to be looking for Russian wheat aphid, or is it more of those seasonal conditions you were talking about for the that have probably changed those numbers a bit for you?
Yeah, so it's all about what happens during the season. So last year, Russian wheat aphid was new. It was a newly declared, first detection of the exotic pest in Australia. So we did have a lot of agronomists sending us samples and pictures, even via Twitter, that showed, getting us to confirm whether they had Russian wheat aphid or not. And we were able to track that and all those detections on a map very quickly to show the rate of spread of Russian wheat aphid across the state. Whereas this year, we're not getting those samples for Russian wheat aphid because they're trained, they know what to look for, and it's not something unusual now for them.
What's the map of Victoria look like? Is there just the aphid everywhere now?
I'd be assuming it is across a lot of places. So the farmers that we're talking to this season are saying, they've been managing it well at the start of the season. So there's a lot of discussion around, that people have seen it and have treated for it. But it is now detected in Victoria, Tasmania, New South Wales and, South Australia, where it was first detected.
And as far as other pests being reported in this season, have you had many other reports, or is Russian wheat aphid still the big one of them all so far?
No. So this year we started off with quite a few samples at the start of the season. So particularly in canola, the sort of nutrition and environmental conditions were sort of looking for some virus activity in canola. But then, as we all know, during June, we didn't get any rain. So, with no rain, the disease pressure really reduces significantly. So the last few weeks, we've had a lot more samples coming in with soil-borne diseases, so crown and root rot. So, different sort of season. It was looking a bit like last year with a heavy disease load, but then, drier conditions, and we've seen a lot less samples. So we've had 130 to date this year.
And I suppose you can't really read into that as being a good thing, can you? If it's dry, that sort of leaves its other effects back on farm.
That's right. I guess a lot of, the growing regions this year were lucky that they had some stored soil moisture. So that's helped the crops through this dry period.
And in terms of CropSafe itself, is it still growing, your network, to get a lot of detection from this out of private agronomists and so forth?
It is. So prior to Russian wheat aphid, we had about 185 agronomists in the network, and that definitely grew with Russian wheat aphid. So we've got over 200 now in the network.
Brilliant. Kellyanne, thanks for joining us.
No worries, thank you.
Kellyanne Harris there from Agriculture Victoria, the Program Manager for CropSafe Tools, speaking.